Hello.
Hi, this is Amanda with NUVO.
Hi, Amanda. It's Boney.
How are you today?
Great. How are you?
I'm great.
Awesome.
Okay, so I know that you have a show coming up in November here in Indy. Is that right?
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's the beautiful venue in Carmel.
Is this going to be your first time at the venue?
No, I think it might be the fourth time.
Yeah, looks like that's a pretty popular venue now too.
Yeah, it's an
Uh,
awesome place if you've never been there. It's really, really great.
yeah. So, what can fans look forward to, or maybe even someone that's never seen your show if they attended your show for the first time?
Well, it's going to be a new show that we have yet to put together. I've got a rehearsal coming up. I have a new record coming out October 18th called Slow Burn. So I'm going to incorporate at least four songs from that.
Nice.
And then I have to kind of shuffle the songs from my catalog. I mean, this is my 19th record now that's coming out, so it's getting more and more difficult as the years go on to figure out what stays in the show and what goes.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I was going to say you have a lot of records.
Yeah, it's
Um,
getting a little crazy.
Is it 20 number one songs that you have?
20 number one singles, apparently. Yeah, it was a surprise to me. And I think that's only since they started calling the chart this particular thing, because I had some other number ones in the 90s before they were calling it this particular chart. But I'll take it.
Okay, yeah. It's interesting too to look into the charts and how they change and what, you know,
Yeah,
even what kinds there are. There's so many different ones. But
I
yeah,
know. Yeah, but it's a good thing. I was pleased to hear that, and the only person in this genre that's ever done that. So I thought that was kind of fun.
I was gonna say that's pretty exciting. And it
Yeah.
looks so had four, is it four Grammy nominations now?
Four Grammy nominations. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty prestigious thing to
Do-
boast.
doesn't get old, I got to tell you.
Say so. So tell us, how did you get started in music? Kind of what brought you there? What was your inspiration?
When I was a kid, just about everybody in elementary school would sign up to join the band class, and you'd get an instrument and learn how to play it. I mean, it was a different era. Um, I wanted to play the trumpet, but my parents and I went to the music store and all they had were clarinets. So I took one of those home, and then 2 years after that, the teacher needed a sax player, so he kind of leaned on me to switch. And as soon as I did, it became my favorite thing to do, and it still honestly is all these years later.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool. I did read about you starting on the clarinet. Was it
Yeah.
a big adjustment for you at first, or do you feel like it was just natural to make that switch?
Well, I mean, they're sort of related. A lot of sax players also play clarinet and flute. The fingerings are somewhat related, but they're very, very different instruments. So, but I just took to the saxophone. I mean, back in those days, there was a lot of sax music and pop music, and so I was really excited to be able to participate on that level. And I joined, bands and garage bands, and you sort of made my way into the music business. I started out as a sideman playing sax and keyboards behind a whole bunch of pop artists, Morris Day and the Isley Brothers, and people like that. And I made my first record after 7 years of doing that.
Can you tell us the story of how you got your nickname?
Well, so my first gig was with Morris Day in 1985, my first real professional tour. And then the year after that, I started touring with a singer named Randy Crawford, sort of a jazz pop singer. She was really popular in Europe and Scandinavia, particularly. So we were over in Norway and Sweden and Denmark for months at a time, and everything cost a fortune over there. So I said to the keyboard player in the band, "Man, I just won't eat for the next couple of days. Everything costs too much." Just joking around. And he, joking back at me, said, "You'll get all skinny. I'll have to start calling you Boney James or something." And I said, "Please don't call me that." And then just to mess with me, they kept calling me that, and it just somehow caught on.
So now it's endearing.
I got used to it, and once people started writing me checks with that on it, it was like, all right, I guess this is it.
I was like, you can't be mad at that point anymore. So something that I wanted to ask then was, during that time and all the different people that you met while you were forming your career, what did you get any, or did you have any times where something happened, or some advice that was given to you that you've carried with you through your career?
Well, that whole era was really school for me, just learning how to be on the road and to be a professional musician and to watch some of these great people who were tremendous entertainers and see how they related to the crowd. And I filed all that stuff away, and I think I still use a lot of it now, for sure.
Yeah. Do you feel like that any of the things that you learned back then would play into the advice that you would give a musician now who wanted to grow up and do, what you do?
Well, the main thing that I've discovered over the years is that the people that succeed are the people that just don't give up. I mean, I've known a lot of great musicians over the years, and many of them just couldn't handle the frustration which is inherent in trying to pursue this kind of career. So I think if you really love it, just keep going because you never know what incredible stuff might happen if you don't quit.
Yeah. That plays also into something that I like to ask, which is because of the way that music is received now and all the changes that you see, to the music business and just everything that's happened with streaming and music in general, the industry, what do you see for the future of the music business?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I think there was a period there where the transition was happening where it was kind of scary, like what is this going to look like? But I think now it's pretty firmly in this new era. And I think, some of my fans are still buying CDs. People are buying vinyl now, which they didn't used to be able to do when I was younger. And streaming is something that people are just used to, and people are actually signing up and paying for DSPs and servers and still consuming music, which I kind of figured they would do. I think people would. I never thought people were going to stop listening to music, but whether
Mm,
the record business would be able to survive was kind of a question, or the terrestrial radio and all these things. But all these new areas where people can listen have grown. And I find it's been a really great thing. I mean, my career, I can say, is actually growing, which is one of the reasons I call the new record slow burn, because here I am 32 years doing it, 19th record, and things are actually growing for me, which is kind of embodies this concept of slow burn.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's something that, some artists seem to have embraced while others have. I mean, I've heard answers from everywhere from, AI is going to write music and eventually humans aren't going to, and no one will appreciate it. And over to the complete opposite of that, which is, maybe people that really wanted to be able to create music but never had, the ability musically to play an instrument can now create music. It's just an interesting thing to kind of ask and see what kind of answer you get
I
to
think,
that.
anybody can make music. AI could certainly make music, but whether people are going to want to listen to it or pay money to listen to it, that's the thing.
Hmm.
It's easier and easier to make records, but I think it's still hard to make records that people want to that people will fall in love with. And
Yeah.
that's what I try and do. And hopefully I think it's still working. There seem to be a lot of people that like the same kind of music that I do anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And also, it's nice to see a variety of music gaining popularity instead of, one genre kind of running. It kind of seems like through the eras there's one, dominant genre over others, but it's nice that it doesn't seem like that anymore. It seems like there's kind of that mix of, everybody has the capability of reaching out and finding different
Yeah.
kinds of
Yeah,
music.
it's pretty easy to find different kinds of music on the internet these days, which is kind of a fun thing.
Yeah. And then you don't just play the saxophone, you're right. I mean, you write your own songs, and
Yeah,
then
I
I also
do.
read that you produce music as
I
well.
do. Yeah, I produce the records as well, which is, it's just like another instrument to me. It's
Hmm.
it's it's sort of shaping the everything that you're hearing in every moment of the record, and it's very challenging, and I love it.
When you produce records, do you prefer to stick with the genre of music that you enjoy, or do you kind of like venturing out and trying other genres of music, on the production side?
I mainly am producing my own records. I have done a couple of projects for other artists. I produced two songs for Al Jarreau right before he died,
Mhm.
which was a real honor to work with him. But for the most part, I really just do my own thing, and it's kind of a full-time job, really making these records and
Yeah,
then
kind of.
promoting
I
it.
like how you
Yeah.
said kind of.
No, I would say totally. It's a
No,
full-time
it
job.
is.
Yeah.